Welcome back to the Metabolic Revolution podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Steve Presciutti, and today we're talking about something that might save your life, or at least make it worth living again. We're talking about salt, sodium chloride, that white crystal that's been demonized worse than a villain in a bad movie. Before we dive in, remember, this is educational content, not medical advice. Always consult your healthcare provider before making dietary changes, especially if you have kidney disease or other health conditions. With that said, let's get into it. This is episode 6, and if you've been following along, you know we don't pull punches here. We've exposed how PUFAs, or polyunsaturated fats, destroy your metabolism, revealed energy as the master key to health, uncovered the gut-energy connection, shown you why sugar is actually your friend, and last week, demolished the cholesterol myth. Today, we're going after another sacred cow of conventional medicine. The idea that salt causes high blood pressure and should be restricted, it's not just wrong, it's metabolically devastating. And I'm going to prove it to you with hard science and real results. If you're tired all the time, if you have brain fog, if your hands and feet are cold, if you crave salt but feel guilty about it, this episode is going to change everything because your body isn't wrong. The guidelines are. Let's start with a mind-blowing fact. Your body contains about 100 grams of sodium. It's the primary electrolyte in your extracellular fluid. Every nerve impulse, every muscle contraction, every cellular communication depends on sodium. You literally cannot produce a thought without it. But somehow we've been convinced that this essential mineral is public enemy number 1. The American Heart Association wants you to consume less than 1,500 milligrams per day. That's less than a teaspoon. For reference, our ancestors consumed 10 to 15 grams daily. That's 10 times more than the safe amount. Here's what happens at the cellular level when you restrict sodium, and this is where it connects to everything we've been talking about. Sodium is required for glucose absorption. You have something called sodium-glucose cotransporters in your intestines. Without adequate sodium, you literally cannot absorb glucose efficiently. Remember last episode when we talked about glucose being your body's preferred fuel? Well, you need sodium to get that fuel into your cells, but it goes deeper. Your cells maintain their electrical potential through the sodium-potassium pump. This pump uses ATP, cellular energy, to move sodium out and potassium in. This creates the electrical gradient that powers everything from nerve transmission to nutrient transport. Low sodium means this pump can't work properly. Your cellular batteries run down. I see this every day in practice. People come in exhausted, brain-fogged, anxious. They're eating clean, avoiding salt like the plague. We run labs and their sodium is low normal. Their aldosterone is sky high. Their stress hormones are through the roof. Add salt back, and it's like watching someone come back to life. This is where conventional medicine has it completely backwards. They say salt causes high blood pressure through volume expansion. More salt equals more water retention equals higher pressure, right? Wrong. Dead wrong. When you restrict sodium, your body doesn't just accept it, it fights back. Your kidneys release renin, which triggers angiotensin, which triggers aldosterone. This is called the renin-angiotensin-aldosterone system, or RAS. It's your body's emergency response to low sodium. But here's what they don't tell you. This system also triggers adrenaline and noradrenaline release. You're literally putting your body into fight or flight mode by restricting salt. Chronic activation of this RAS system from the low dietary sodium intake causes vasoconstriction throughout the body, when your blood vessels tighten up, but across the whole body. And guess what that does? It raises blood pressure. So we restrict salt to lower blood pressure, which activates stress hormones, which raises blood pressure. It's insane. It's like trying to put out a fire with gasoline. And the metabolic consequences? Catastrophic. Elevated aldosterone causes potassium wasting. You pee out this crucial intracellular mineral. Adrenaline impairs glucose metabolism. Remember the Randle cycle we discussed? Stress hormones shift you toward fat oxidation and away from efficient glucose use. You're literally forcing your body into an inefficient metabolic state. The research backs this up completely. The Pure study, 100,000 people across 17 countries, showed that sodium intake below 3 grams per day was associated with increased cardiovascular events and mortality. The sweet spot, 3 to 6 grams per day, way more than the guidelines recommend. Now let's connect this to your thyroid, the master regulator of metabolism that we keep coming back to. Your thyroid needs adequate sodium to function properly. Low sodium impairs the sodium iodide symporter, which is how your thyroid gland takes up iodine to make thyroid hormone. But it's not just about iodine uptake. Sodium deficiency triggers reverse T3 production. Remember, reverse T3 is the brake pedal for your metabolism. It blocks active T3 from working. So low sodium literally slows your metabolism at the cellular level. This creates a vicious cycle. Low sodium impairs thyroid function. Low thyroid function reduces your ability to hold on to sodium. You need more and more coffee or stimulants to feel normal. You're cold all the time. Your digestion slows. Your brain fog worsens. Sound familiar? Here's a patient story that drives this home. Jennifer, 35, came to me after years of clean eating. She avoided salt religiously, ran marathons, ate tons of vegetables. She was exhausted, freezing cold, couldn't lose weight despite running 40 miles a week. Her TSH was normal, but her body temperature was 96.8. Her pulse was 48. We added salt, real salt, 5 to 8 grams a day. Within 2 weeks, her temperature rose to 98.2. Her energy returned. She cut her running in half and started losing weight. Her periods regulated, all from adding back this dangerous mineral. Her cardiologist was horrified by her salt intake, but her blood pressure actually dropped. Why? Because we turned off the stress response. This brings us to exercise, and why the fitness industry has this so wrong. When you sweat, you lose sodium. A lot of it. An hour of intense exercise can deplete 1 to 3 grams of sodium. But what does conventional wisdom say? Drink plain water. Avoid sports drinks because they have sodium and sugar. Here's what actually happens when you replace sweat losses with plain water. You dilute your blood sodium. This triggers the stress response we just talked about. Your performance tanks. Your recovery suffers. You're literally creating metabolic stress while trying to get healthy. Endurance athletes who follow low-sodium diets are metabolic disasters waiting to happen. They have sky-high cortisol, suppressed thyroid function, and terrible recovery. They're breaking down muscle for fuel because their glucose metabolism is impaired. They age rapidly despite all that healthy exercise. The solution is simple. Replace what you lose. Sodium and glucose together, exactly what's in those unhealthy sports drinks. The combination is synergistic. Sodium helps glucose absorption. Glucose helps sodium retention. Your cells stay hydrated and energized. But here's where I really go against the grain. You don't need to be an athlete to need more salt. Modern life is stressful. Stress depletes sodium. Coffee depletes sodium. Low-carb diets waste sodium. If you're avoiding salt while living a modern lifestyle, you're fighting a losing battle. Let's get into the cellular biology because this is fascinating. True hydration isn't about water, it's about electrolyte balance. You can drink gallons of water, but without adequate sodium, that water won't stay in your cells where you need it. Your cells use the sodium-potassium ATP-ACE pump to maintain their volume and electrical potential. This pump consumes about 20 to 30% of your total ATP production every day. Think about that. Nearly a third of your cellular energy goes to managing sodium and potassium balance. It's that important. When sodium is low, this pump can't work efficiently. Your cells can't maintain proper volume. They shrink. Nutrients can't get in. Waste can't get out. You're dehydrated at the cellular level, even if you're drowning yourself in water. This impacts everything. Muscle contraction requires proper cell volume. Neural transmission requires proper electrical gradients. Hormone signaling requires proper cellular hydration. When you restrict sodium, all of these processes suffer. Here's where it gets really interesting from a bioenergetic perspective. Proper sodium levels support mitochondrial function. The mitochondrial membrane potential, which drives ATP production, is influenced by cellular sodium gradients. Low sodium means inefficient energy production. It all comes back to energy. This is why people on our bioenergetic reset program report such dramatic improvements when we optimize their sodium intake. We're not just replacing an electrolyte, we're restoring cellular function. At $133 a month, it's the best investment you can make in your metabolic health. We show you exactly how to use sodium strategically to support your unique physiology. Okay, now let's tackle the blood pressure issue head on, because I know that's what's holding many of you back. The idea that salt causes hypertension comes from observations in the 1970s. Researchers noticed that certain populations with very high salt intake had high blood pressure. Case closed, right? Not so fast. Those same populations also had high rates of obesity, alcohol consumption, and sedentary lifestyles. They were eating processed foods loaded with polyunsaturated fats and other industrial chemicals found in processed foods, right? Not just salt. Salt was just along for the ride. When you actually look at healthy populations with high salt intake, like the Japanese before westernization, they had low rates of hypertension despite consuming massive amounts of sodium. The mechanism matters. Salt doesn't cause hypertension in metabolically healthy people. It's the combination of high sodium with metabolic dysfunction, insulin resistance, polyunsaturated fat consumption, endotoxin exposure. It's that combination of insults that's problematic. Fix the metabolism and sodium becomes your friend, not your enemy. In fact, adequate sodium can lower blood pressure in many people by turning off the stress response. When your body has enough sodium, it doesn't need to activate the RAS system. Stress hormones drop, blood vessels relax, and yes, blood pressure normalizes. The real causes of hypertension? Insulin resistance from chronic high blood sugar, arterial stiffness from polyunsaturated fat consumption, chronic inflammation from gut dysfunction, magnesium deficiency, hypothyroidism. Address these, add adequate sodium, and watch blood pressure optimize naturally. The body really does have an amazing ability to heal itself if you just give it what it needs. Okay, so how do you actually implement this? Start by getting real salt. Not that stripped white table salt, that's just sodium chloride with added anti-caking agents. Get unrefined sea salt with its full mineral profile. Just be sure to pick a brand with low heavy metal contamination. The details really matter here on this one. It's important to keep in mind that if you've been restricting, start gradually. Add a 1/4 teaspoon to a glass of orange juice in the morning. Yes, orange juice. The sodium helps with glucose absorption, remember? Notice how your energy improves, how your hands warm up, how your brain fog clears. Also, pay attention to your cravings. Your body has ancient wisdom about sodium needs. If you crave salt, you probably need it. If food tastes bland without salt, you definitely need it. Those cravings are your body's way of maintaining homeostasis. Stop fighting what your body is telling you what it wants. For most people, 3 to 8 grams of sodium daily is optimal. That's about 1.5 to 4 teaspoons of salt. And remember, you will need more if you exercise, live in a hot climate, or are under stress. And you might need less if you have genuine kidney disease. But even then, moderate sodium is usually better than severe restriction. And again, monitor your body temperature and pulse. As your sodium status improves, both should rise. Your hands and feet should warm up. Your energy should stabilize throughout the day. These are signs your metabolism is coming back online. And here's a pro tip. Combine salt with sugar for maximum benefit. A pinch of salt in your fruit juice. Salt on your ripe fruit. This combination optimizes cellular hydration and glucose delivery. It's what your cells actually want, and it's exactly what sports drinks try to recreate. Okay, here's something nobody talks about: how essential sodium is for digestive health. Your stomach acid, hydrochloric acid, requires chloride from salt. It's literally half the molecule. So it's no surprise that, in the studies, low salt intake means low stomach acid. Low stomach acid means poor protein digestion, mineral malabsorption, and bacterial overgrowth. This connects directly to everything we discussed in episode 3 about gut health and endotoxin. When you can't produce adequate stomach acid, bacteria proliferate where they shouldn't. You develop SIBO. Endotoxin levels rise. Your liver gets overwhelmed. Energy production crashes. Sodium is also crucial for producing digestive enzymes and maintaining the gut lining. The sodium-dependent glucose transporters in your intestines don't just absorb glucose. They help maintain gut barrier function. Low sodium can contribute to leaky gut. I've seen countless digestive issues resolve simply by adding adequate salt. Bloating disappears. Acid reflux improves. Yes, improves, because it's usually caused by low acid, not high. Nutrient absorption enhances. Energy rebounds. This is why traditional cultures always fermented foods with salt. Sauerkraut, kimchi, pickles, these aren't just preserved foods. They're probiotic powerhouses that provide sodium in a form that supports both gut and metabolic health. Look, I get it. Everything I'm saying goes against decades of public health messaging. Your doctor probably tells you to avoid salt. Your well-meaning friends share articles about the dangers of sodium. But here's the thing. They're all wrong. The scientific evidence is pretty clear on this one. For starters, population studies show the lowest mortality at sodium intakes 2 to 3 times higher than recommended. Additionally, mechanistic studies show sodium is essential for cellular energy production, and clinical experience shows dramatic improvements when people stop fearing salt. So, sorry, you've been lied to, not maliciously. Most doctors genuinely believe the low-salt dogma, but the result is the same. Millions of people suffering from preventable metabolic dysfunction because they're avoiding an essential nutrient. Here's what I want you to do. Question everything. Try adding salt back gradually. Monitor how you feel, not what some guideline says. Trust your body's wisdom over fear-based recommendations. If you want to dive deeper into this and get personalized guidance, our Energy Reset Essentials mini course breaks down exactly how to optimize your electrolyte balance for maximum energy. For just $39, you get the protocols we use with private clients. No fear-mongering, just practical steps to reclaim your metabolic health. Also, for those ready to go all in, our one-on-one coaching provides customized sodium and electrolyte protocols based on your unique needs, health history, and goals. We monitor your progress, adjust as needed, and support you in becoming metabolically optimized. This is for people who are done with one-size-fits-all approaches and want real results. Okay, remember why you're here. You came looking for answers because what you've been told isn't working. You're tired of being tired. You're done with conflicting information. You want the truth about what your body actually needs. Well, here it is. The truth. Your body needs salt. It needs cholesterol. It needs sugar. It needs all the things we've been told to fear. The path to health isn't through restriction, it's through nourishment. Now, again, it doesn't mean you can have all of these things willy-nilly either, but it certainly means that you don't have to fear them. Next week on episode 7, we're tackling protein. Everyone says more is better, right? But what if they're wrong about that too? What if it has a so-called Goldilocks zone like the others? What if excess protein is actually stressing your metabolism? Get ready to have your mind blown again. This is Dr. Steve Presciutti reminding you, the revolution isn't about following new rules. It's about understanding how your body actually works and giving it what it needs. As always, this information is for education only. It's not medical advice. Work with your healthcare provider to determine what's right for your individual situation. You came to the right place. Let's talk.